So this is the all new but not so new, because it's already released in Asia for a while, Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus. Let's discuss the camera performance on it and see how it overall performs when it comes to said camera. I will say the 2 megapixel resolution I won't use, because simply put, it's not useful at all and they should remove that. And there are some comments that I have about having still an 8 megapixel resolution on the phone as well. Anyway, let's jump into how the performance is in terms of camera on the Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus. Now, of course, the thing that most people are interested in when it comes to the Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus, which still is a really long name for a phone, is that main camera, the 200 megapixel resolution camera. And overall, I think it does pretty well. It has a pretty capable sensor size, and overall shots that come out of it do look pretty pleasing. If there are some comments, sometimes images can look a little bit washed out, but honestly, for the price itself, I think that the main camera, now I'm only specifically talking about the main camera here, does do a pretty good job. Although, as stated, sometimes it can look a little bit washed out. And then we come to ultra wide. Now, at first glance, the images look pretty fine. It's nothing great, but nothing bad. But if you look closer to the shot itself, you can see that just the 8 megapixel camera that we are using right here just isn't good enough. I feel like if you have a phone around 499 euros, that the main camera shouldn't be your only focus. The ultra wide should also be good as well. It doesn't need to compete with a phone that is 1200 euros or 1000 euros. No, it doesn't need to be. But the ultra wide definitely needs to be upgraded. We need a better sensor for this, and of course a higher resolution as well, 12 megapixels. I'm not talking about 50 or anything like that. So a bump up in ultra wide is definitely needed for phones like this. I feel like that's a little bit disappointing when I look at shots taken on this Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus. And then we have the 200 megapixel resolution. Now, of course, as stated, you do need to go to the mode specifically, but if you do capture shots that are at 200 megapixels, of course you can zoom in more. I will say again, it can be a little bit washed out, a little bit grainy when you zoom in, but overall I will say that the shots are fine. I don't really have much to critique when it comes to the main camera itself. It's mainly the ultra wide that I really have comments about and video, but we'll get to that one. Now, these of course were the normal pictures, but there is a comment that I have, because there's an extra, and that is the styles. The styles that you also have on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. Will it perform better on the 13 Pro? Without a doubt. The filmic mode is far better, black and white is far better, but still, you have the possibility to play around with those, and I really like having those. So I really want to showcase that as well when it comes to, of course, this Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus. Now, of course, we also have video recording. I don't often want to really pay attention too much to video recording because it's not something that has my interest and something where I feel like I can really showcase it properly with just walking. Because that is how it feels. It feels like I'm taking an image and just like, yeah, there you go. That's how it feels for me. But let's discuss video performance as well.
4K video recording. Let's see how it performs in general. It is a little bit windy, so if you hear wind, especially now, that's why. See how stable it is, of course. See, turn around, it has any jitter, which basically all headphones have. You cannot then go to your ultra wide in 4K. Neither can you do that in 1080p and 30 frames per second. Here is that 1080p and 30 frames per second. And trying now to use the ultra wide, and we cannot. Of course you can zoom in, but it's all digital, so it really doesn't matter that much. But you can do that. Again, see if there's any jitter. Yeah, I already seen it.
So, at the end, how does it perform? The Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus, which is a far too long name. I'm just gonna call it the 12 Pro Plus. When it comes to it, I will say that 1, we shouldn't have a 2 megapixel resolution camera anymore on any phone. It makes no sense and we shouldn't have it. I know, marketing, it looks good. Hey, having an extra camera. But it's not good and it's useless. Then we have to talk about the ultra wide. The ultra wide, simply put, shouldn't be this one anymore. This is 499 euros. That's not little pocket change here. So having a better ultra wide is definitely something that they should add on a phone like this, especially for that price. I think one strength for the Redmi Note series in general was their value for what you get. And then having an 8 megapixel resolution camera like this doesn't really make sense for me. We should have like a 12 megapixel resolution camera with a larger sensor, of course, and just overall a better sensor. So yeah, that's definitely something that needs to be improved. Then we go to the 200 megapixel camera. In day-to-day life, I will say that the camera performs well. The camera on this one, in terms of stills, is quite solid. I like the results that I can get from it. And yes, if you do take a 200 megapixel resolution shot, you can zoom into it if you wish. And then I will say it keeps a pretty good amount of detail in it. I still think, however, that 200 megapixels or the megapixel race shouldn't be a thing. I'd rather have a 50 megapixel resolution and then a larger sensor with a good f-stop, possibly variable aperture. Those things are far more appealing than having a 200 megapixel resolution. Not to mention that it is a little bit slow in shutter speed. Sometimes when I'm trying to take a picture of a flower and it's windy outside, I will notice that the shutter speed is simply a little bit too slow and therefore it comes out of focus because there's a slight movement on the flower. Shutter speed needs to be improved when it comes to this phone. Overall, in terms of camera, I don't think that this is a phone that you will get for the camera, apart if you want to say the main camera is the main focus for me, then I think it's fine. But when it comes to the versatility of the camera in terms of using the different sensors, that 8 megapixel resolution just doesn't make a lot of sense for me. If it is the main camera that you often use, then it's fine. But honestly, if I'm being really honest, I would advise looking at last year's devices, and I'm not talking about the Redmi Note, but just the flagship from last year. They probably will provide a better result. Now, of course, when it comes to the Redmi Note 12 Pro, that's a very different story, but we'll discuss that in a different video, because that one, in terms of price and what you're getting from it, seems to be the better deal. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and of course if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe and all that stuff. I'm trying to hit, of course, 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be really awesome because, you know, I had to start this channel again. I have a big channel, but that one was for concept, so anyway, would appreciate it if you subscribe, hit the bar icon and so on. And of course, talk to you guys in the next